Hello makers and welcome back to Making with Miss Dobras. Alright, this week we are going to be making amazing marble mazes. And it's one of my favorite projects. And this project is going to last all week. So it's going to be a minimum of 3 days of class. And I think you're really going to like it. Now, before we start designing our marble maze, a few things you want to think about when you're designing a maze is you want to have a start and you want to have an end. It doesn't have to be right there where mine are. They can be any corner, anywhere you want. But that's a good way to start for the first time you make a marble maze. And then the marble has to find its way from the start to the end. But you don't want to make it easy to do it, right? You want to make it a challenge. So there's a few ways you can do some things to make it more challenging. And the most fun way is to make traps. And so traps are places where the marble wants to go, but it gets trapped in there and it doesn't make it to the end. So let's see. Right here is a trap. If the marble goes in here, it gets trapped in there. All right? Over here is a trap. It can't go anywhere right here, so it has to go back out. So you want to add some traps. Here's another trap down here where the marble would come down here and get trapped. And it has to go all the way back out to make it to the end. Another thing to think about is you might want to have more than one way to get from the start to the end. So when you start designing yours with pencil, you might want to come up with more than one design. And I have a feeling that once you start building it, you might even change some of your ideas. So let's get started. Remember, you need a pencil because you're going to make lots of mistakes and you're going to erase stuff and change it, and that's all right. All right, here is my first draft, and I'm going to go over it with a Sharpie, just so you can see it better on the video. But I really recommend using a pencil and eraser because, as you can see, I erased lots of things. And we really want to make sure the marble can go to all the areas of the paper, okay? We don't want to create any spaces that it can't get to. I call those areas dead zones, and I'm going to talk more about that later. Okay, here's my first draft of my design for my marble maze. When I say first draft, that means this is the first time I've tried it, and I might like this design, and I might decide to make another draft, a second one that might look different. But notice I added a start and an end right here. And I put a smiley face because if you make it from the start to the end, then you made the marble maze. And then if you'll notice here, I put the word trap. I put the word trap. I put the word trap. And that's where the marble gets trapped in this corner. So it's like when you trick someone. So when you design a marble maze, you want to try to trick them. You want to try to get them to go into the trap so they don't make it to the end. We don't want it to be too easy to go from the start to the end. Another thing I want you to notice is I actually used a ruler because I like to do straight lines with a maze. I use straight up and down vertical lines, and I also used horizontal lines. And this is one way to start doing a design for a marble maze, is to use vertical and horizontal lines. Now, once we start building it, we might use other materials that are round and have other shapes, but this is a good idea. This is a good way to start with straight lines. Okay? Another thing to notice is I use this width of the ruler so that I could have about the same width in between all the lines. So if my marble was going to go through here like this, I want to make sure that my marble can fit, all right? So if I come out through the start and I go through the maze, I want my marble to be able to fit through the path. So you want to try to make the path wide enough so that your marble can fit through it. All right, so that's what I want you to do. Day one, I want you to design 1 or 2 different designs for a marble maze. And the next lesson is we're going to start to build it. Okay, that's all for now. Bye. Materials that you need for this project is a lot of recycled stuff. You do need Elmer's glue. And other than that, I like to use straws. And believe it or not, paper straws work better than plastic straws. They seem to glue down better. But any straws will work. You can use chopsticks. You can use popsicle sticks, different kinds of popsicle sticks. And you can always just make it from cardboard. I use cardboard strips a lot when I make these. And any little plastic containers that you might find from a little piece of candy or a little toy or something like that. And you know, I love toilet paper rolls that you can smush down and you can cut into pieces. And then I threw some of these in, some pipe cleaners. You might want to use some pipe cleaners. And then you might just want to get creative and find whatever you can find in your house. You can use bottle caps and things like this. All right, so like I told you, there's 3 parts to this lesson. The first part is to do your plan or your design. As a designer and a maker, we always want to have a plan, a design, that's an idea to start with. It doesn't mean we're going to end up with this, but it's something to go with, kind of like a map, right? Once you have your design, then you're ready to start your base. So first off, we're going to have to talk about materials. So this is a project that uses lots of recycled materials. These are little things that I found around the house. So I'm going to show you some examples of some things that I used. I used a bottle cap. I used pieces of cardboard. That's a part of a toilet paper roll. You know, we use those for our other project. This is an old beaded necklace that was broken. That was my kids, and I used that. There's some beads right there. This was from like a little toy, you know, where you put like a quarter in a machine and you get a little toy out. That was that. And then I had some straws that I cut up. Straws are great, and that's another straw. And this is just a shoebox lid. So you're going to need lots of materials. And the first thing that you're going to need is some kind of base, okay? So if you're lucky, hopefully you can maybe find a lid to a box. This is a lid to a shoebox. But a lid to any kind of box is great because it has an edge around it. And the edge is so that the marble doesn't fall out, right? It catches it. Now, if you don't have a lid, that's fine. We can make a lid. You need a piece of cardboard. So you need to get a piece of cardboard like this. And I'm going to show you some ways where you can make a border on it. So one way that's really easy to make an edge on a piece of cardboard is with straws. You can take straws and you can glue them on the edge all the way around, and that way your marble will stay in, okay? But there's all kinds of ways. You can use cardboard, and you can use all kinds of stuff. So that's where you can get really creative. Another way that is pretty easy to make a simple marble maze is with a plate. It already has an edge on it so the marble doesn't fall off. Now, this is a little bit smaller, so you don't get to do as many things. So I recommend using a bigger piece of cardboard and a big lid. A lid to a big cardboard moving box would be great. And bigger is better in this case, so go for it. If you have a big lid, maybe not huge, but... Basically, you want anything that is going to hold a marble inside of your thing without falling out, okay? So you're going to have to get creative with that. So here's your base. Okay, so we made our plan. That's step one, right? We made our plan. And then we have to make a base. If you have a lid, you can make a lid. Or like I showed you, you can make your own lid or edges to a piece of cardboard. And then now step three is the fun part. We get to start making. So when I first made this video, I made it, it was a few months ago, and I had a puppy. So I think you're going to like the next video.